Here we are looking at Sasha's hands. They're in the silicon molds that are made of Mold Star 30. Here's little drawings I made to make the hand plates and the wrist balls. It's made out of this 1/8 inch by 1/2 inch stock that's been milled down to 3/8. Using a Sharpie as the Lazy Man's Machinist Blue to color the steel. Then using a dial caliper to scribe marks for machining. I'm scribing for the tang that will hold the wrist ball. I'm scribing for the finger holes, the 4 finger holes, and the thumb. The thumb is a larger diameter, so it's scribed a little different. The scribed lines provide plenty of contrast to see where to machine, but I add a contrast color so I don't get confused on the intersections of where to drill. The flat bar is held in the vise on our grizzly mill, using a spot drill to start the holes, using an 1/8 inch hole for the thumb, which is probably too big. 1/8 inch is 125 thousandths, or about 3 millimeters. Using a 1/16 inch drill for the fingers, which is 62 thousandths, or about 1.5 millimeters. Using the cutoff wheel, I'm trimming away the excess material away from the tang like on a blade, a kitchen blade. The tang will receive the 1/4 inch ball, the wrist ball. Just carefully doing it this way. I don't do it this way anymore. Now I put it in the grizzly mill and use a cutoff wheel on the mill so that I get more precision. So I don't do it like this anymore. Trimming a little bit off on the tang so that the ball fits in there. Here we are brazing the ball onto the tang. This is the wrist ball, 1/4 inch ball onto that approximately 1/8 inch tang. I left the tang a little short and placed a small piece of solder as a heat gauge. I'm not applying heat directly to the ball at first. I'm heating up the lower bar so the heat conducts up through that little tang until it melts the little solder bit. Once that happens, then I carefully add more solder down from the top, then let that cool enough to hold position and cool it off in water. Here's a close-up of that after it's come out of the water. It's still steaming a bit. Not 100% happy with the penetration of solder up on top. I think it was too hot and it fell through the bottom, but it's strong enough for what we need it to do. Here's a photo of some finished Sasha hands. Off camera, I used the cutoff wheel to soften the sharp edges on the palm plate. The sharp edges cut into the dragon skin silicone that surrounds these parts. I used a steel brush to clean the bearing surfaces on the wrist ball. Then I used the cutoff wheel to separate the hand plate from the rest of the working bar. The top hand plate in the figure has no holes for the wired fingers, but it does have a 632 thread. The thread allows us to bolt handheld objects to the puppet. Since the puppets really don't have any hand strength at all, not at all. Have to use the screw, the bolt to hold anything in their hands. Here are the hand plates with the wires for the fingers installed. The wiring up through those holes, and the wire fingers need to be able to bend as the fingers bend. These fingers are too small to try to bother with individual joints for the knuckles on the fingers. So you get so many minutes of use out of these wire fingers, and then they break, and then you have to replace them. So we have replaceable hands ready to go at a moment's notice. Just slide them out, slide them in. Try to get as much life as we can out of these wire fingers. You want the diameter of the wires in the fingers as large as you can, but you still have to have enough silicone material over the wires so that the wires don't show up on camera. Here are the finished hands. They're placed in the molds, and they get wrapped in, they get like sealed with super glue and wrapped in Teflon tape to keep the silicone from gumming up the works, and then painted a skin color so that the silicone, the Teflon tape doesn't show through the translucent dragon skin material that is used for the flesh on these hands. And if all goes well, they pour the silicone and then out comes a finished hand. It's difficult to do it well. And here are the hands after they were very carefully molded in silicone.